The all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma Tier D off-road model comes in two varieties. You can get a manual transmission or an 8-speed automatic. And I'm here in California, and I'm going to show you how they off-road both manual transmission and auto. Let's go. All right, so first up, I am in the 6-speed manual truck. And the first gear is really low. So they changed it up for this new generation of the Tacoma. So you still have a 6-speed manual option. This is a Tier D off-road truck. Or you can get an 8-speed automatic. And I'll drive the automatic next on the same course here in California near Malibu. And this is at the ranch where the first drive is happening. And Toyota has provided the trucks and they selected this route. So this is kind of a first drive. I'm not in Colorado right now. And the reason why I'm excited about the manual, not just because it's a manual, it's a 6-speed, but because they gave it a really much improved, in my opinion, crawl ratio. It's about 53:1. Right now I'm in second gear, going about 9 miles per hour in 4 low. And just, it's not really jerky. It's pretty nice and easy. And it's gonna get steep, and then we're gonna get a few obstacles going. Now, in these trucks, we have new interiors. This is a giant 14-inch center display, 14-inch diagonal, and it's got the latest camera system. Of course, there's a camera in the front, one on each side, one in the tailgate, and actually there are 2 cameras in the back of the cab because one is for the mirror, rear camera mirror, and the other one is to look inside my bed. And so the first gear is about 478:1. My rear axle ratio is 430:1. Yes, 4.3:1. And that's how it combines with the transfer case for a 53:1 overall crawl ratio in first gear. All right, so we're climbing. You can see my inclinometer here as well. And we'll see when the next obstacle appears. I'm gonna disconnect my sway bar. There, it just disconnected because I want to see if I just have perfect articulation. With Bilstein shocks and just negotiating a few locks right there. I'm barely even touched the throttle. Just very nice and easy. All right, now we got a little bit of Moguls going on, and right now my stabilizer bar is connected. So this is the way it would be on the highway. And then in the next set of Moguls, I will disconnect it and see how it does. There's a button right here. I can hear it moving, and now it's disabled. See it again. Oh, that's fun. So my feet are off the pedals. Look, man, no feet. Can just use the gearing. So the previous Tier D off-road, previous generation Tacoma also had a manual transmission. It had a V6 engine, but it had different gearing. I want to talk about the new wheelbase. So of course, everything is new in this Tacoma, including the frame, the suspension design, and the wheelbase. The wheelbase on this new one is 131.9 inches, this is for the short bed crew cab, which Toyota calls double cab. And this is the most common Tacoma that probably will be sold, 4 doors and a short bed. And even though the overall length of the truck is almost identical to before, because Toyota says it was really important to you guys buying the Tacoma that you could still park it in most locations, including your garage. So the overall length is the same, but the wheelbase is different, which means the turning radius has increased a bit. On average about 1.5 feet. So that's not ideal for an off-roader, you know, having slightly larger turning radius. But it's not a humongous deal because this truck is still mid-size. Oh, I see. So there's a side tilt now. So this is a side tilt showing the capability of this truck. It's still kind of a little bit unnerving. Okay, I'm trying not to stall it. And I can barely see, I'm looking at my cameras. Okay, I'm gonna go back into first gear. And descend. That's another almost 30 degrees, guys. So this is not one of those most challenging trails. It's just kind of a first taste of what it's like to off-road the new Tacoma. So I'm done with the 6-speed manual, and now it's my turn to jump into the automatic transmission truck, and I want to see how they're different. The automatic does not have quite the same crawl ratio as this one, so I'm kind of curious how that's gonna work. These are the tires I'm using today in both trucks. They're basically identical. They are BF Goodrich Trail Terrain TAs, and the size on this tire is 265/70 R17. So it's kind of a little bit hard to see here. So it's a 17-inch wheel, front and rear, and the tire size is approximately a 32. It's about 31.6 inches in diameter. Sheldon, the chief engineer, says this tire is really great, both for on-road driving and then off-road driving. And I did one loop already in this tire, but I want to see some more. By the way, if you want a bigger tire, a 33-inch tall tire is available. You don't have to modify the suspension. You can put 33 on this all day long. Now I'm magically in the automatic transmission truck. This is still TRD off-road, so the trim level hasn't changed. What has changed is actually I gained 2 more gears, so it's an 8-speed now. I gained a little bit horsepower and torque because the engine is tuned a little bit differently as far as top horsepower and top torque. It's now 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque, and the torque still comes on at about 1700 RPM. Maximum torque is available, which I think is quite low. I mean, it's almost diesel-like torque availability. Right now I'm in just normal drive mode in 4-wheel drive high, and as soon as I can get up to these boulders, I'll switch to 4 low. They did improve the crawl ratio in the automatic transmission truck compared to the previous gen. It's now 41:1 in first gear 4 low versus 36:1. Now these Tacomas now have a new dial here, so it does a lot. So there's tow haul mode, crawl control system, multi-terrain select, drive modes where you could turn this and select, and also when you squeeze this lower part you can rotate it between 2 high, 4 high, or 4 low. So now I'm asking it to go to 4 low, and look, bam, it just did it. So in the previous truck it was taking a little while to switch between 4 low and 4 high, but this one did it very quickly, so that's nice. Now when I go to drive, I have all of my gearing, so about 41:1. So when I select crawl mode, look, the gauges change, and then I can control my speed using this knob. So between like low and high speed, so it could be between like 1 and like 4 or 5 miles per hour. I'll be in lowest speed, and see how the truck behaves using this feature. So my front stabilizer bar is still connected. I'm using the crawl mode. So my feet are actually not on the pedals. And also this is a base tier TFLoffroad, which means I don't have the front camera or the side cameras. And because it's in this lowest speed, actually that's pretty smooth. And you know what else? The previous gen system, you could kind of hear the anti-lock brakes and it was kind of noisy. This system is not noisy at all. It just does it. And once again, my feet were completely off the pedals. No brake, no throttle. I was just crawling. The truck was crawling by itself. I only have one concern. I like that they made this truck with more ground clearance, about 11 to 11.5 inches of ground clearance, which is excellent. But one concern I have is the position of the rear exhaust pipe here. It's on the driver's side, which is okay, but it's kind of almost within my departure angle. Maybe not terribly, but I'm a little bit worried if I'm off kilter, if I will touch this exhaust pipe. So when you do have the automatic transmission in a Tier D off-road truck, but you don't have all the options, for example, the cameras, you can save some money. And this truck starts at $42,900 without additional options. If this was a manual truck, you can even save more money. That's about $41,900, about $1,000. So for these Moguls, I'm using crawl control system. So once again, feet off the pedals. And the rear locking differential is, I selected it on. This may be even a little bit too slow. We'll see how it goes. I can increase my speed just a hair. Let me try that. And of course I asked for that in the middle of an obstacle. But still the truck, once again, this is without, this front stabilizer bar is still connected. Now I can pause and I can disconnect the front stabilizer bar, and I have a little symbol there. It's now done. That operation is done. Now I can continue, and you should see visually, you should see a little bit more articulation out of this truck. Once again, there's no front locker here. So this is a side tilt. I tried it in the manual truck, and now we're trying it in maybe in a little bit more extreme way. This is almost up to 30 degrees. My rear locker is still enabled, and my sway bar is now engaged. Oh, I can feel it sliding down just a smidge. But actually the seat is holding me in place. It's pretty, not too bad actually. All right, let's keep going a little bit further. All right, I'm gonna disconnect my sway bar again. This is also pretty side tilty. A little bit of throttle. I'm not using crawl control right now. So. Before I came here, when I was in Colorado, I met with our friend James Buff. He's really a huge Toyota off-road enthusiast and also president of the club, and he was concerned that the V6 is gone, largest displacement engine is gone, now it's a 2.4 liter turbo, and he was wondering what will it be like on a descent like this, how much gearing. Well, first of all, the gearing is better, like I already mentioned to you. So right now my foot is off the brake, it's about 3,500 RPM, and I'm descending at 8 miles per hour. And right now I'm still pretty comfy, still haven't used my brake. There. So, by the way, this is not the hybrid. This is just still the standard turbocharged engine. So yeah, I mean, that's a valid question. You know, does a smaller displacement engine, does it react differently? Does it have less, back pressure? But the gearing, I think, is helping. Now it's almost home free, except I want to show you one more thing. I wanted to show you that very tight turn that's coming up in a bit. Okay, I'm all the way. So the turning diameter of the new truck is approximately 44-ish feet. Sorry, don't quote me on that. No, I didn't make it. All right, so it's the turning diameter, like I was saying, is a little bit worse than it was, maybe by 1.5 feet. Not that 1.5 feet would have helped me, but still, you want maneuverability. So just one correction and I'm home free. So not the end of the world, but the longer wheelbase is affecting me a little bit. Well, there you have it. I think for this particular trail, because it's super steep, I would actually prefer the manual transmission, because I just felt like the extra gearing really helped. But the technology in this automatic transmission truck with hill descent control and also crawl control and some of those features work really nice. And I was also surprised how stable this truck is on a side tilt. But now there's one thing left to do. I have to get one of these trucks to Colorado to really put it to the test on some of the rocky terrain that I know best. Thanks for joining me. Check out oldtfl.com for everything automotive in one place. I'll see you next time.